you, RAYNET-UK RAYNET. This is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. Primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information, with additional information on the RAYNET-UK website at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET-UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please note your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, net control will pause and repeat I've heard. If your check-in is not acknowledged, then please do try again, and if you miss your turn to call in, I will be calling for any strays, that's people who've missed their turns, at the end of the UK and international sections. So I'll now begin taking check-ins in the usual order of call sign number order, starting with stations with figure 8. Figure 8 in their call. Please call now. This is G4 and RC.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee, G8 EEY, name is Mike.
For 8 Echo Yankee, good afternoon Mike. Any other 8s please, G4 and RC, over. And RC, nothing heard, so we'll have 7s. Stations figure 7 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, name is Stephen, Dane Valley Group.
Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, G7NEH.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, good afternoon Stephen. Any other 7s please, G4 and RC, over.
Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, G7NEH. Good afternoon, Greg.
Good afternoon, Graham. Okay, that looks like all we'll get for 7s. Let's go for 6s. Stations figure 6 in the call sign, please go ahead, over. Good afternoon, this is Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, Chris in Ipswich. In and out, please, Greg. Papa Delta Echo, good afternoon, Chris. I copied you in and out. Any other 6s, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Let's have 5s. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. We don't have many 5s in the organisation anyway, so let's go for 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, let's have 3s. Stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian, in and out but listening.
Zulu Hotel X-Ray, good afternoon Ian. Yeah, sorry for the delay there, trying to do 15 things at once. Okay, copied you in and out. Good afternoon to you. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. Nothing heard. So let's have two. So stations figure 2 in their call sign, please. Go ahead, over. RC, second call, only stations figure 2 in their call sign, and that includes you intermediate 2s. Please call now, over. G4 and RC, it's going to be a short one. Let's go for stations figure 1 in their call sign, please. Go ahead, over. Second call, stations figure 1 in their call sign, please. Go ahead, over.
G1FMU, Keith, down in sunny Cornwall. Just in and out this week, and I'll briefly listen to the remainder of the QSO.
One Foxtrot Mike uniform, no problem, Keith. Copied you in and out, and good afternoon to you. Any other? Let's go. Sorry, next. Mike Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now, over.
Mike and the 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, Philip and Northern Ireland.
India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, good afternoon, Philip. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. For an RC, then it's Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now, over.
Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, Raynet, Pembrokeshire. Over.
Ski 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray, G4 and RC. Good afternoon, Andy. You didn't say in and out, so I'm going to assume you're staying with me. It's good I can save my comments then. Any other Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, over. For an RC, nothing heard. So any UK stations who missed their turn to call in, would you like to call now, over? You have any of our international colleagues on the talk group today? That's usually not Sandband of Norway, Aaron in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia, Des in the Netherlands. G4 and RC, over.
Lima Alpha 6 in your Mike. Name is Hans. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike. Good afternoon, Hans. And, thanks for joining us today. Copy to you in and out. If we have any UK or international stations who've missed their turn to call in that wish to do so, please call now. G4 and RC, over.
G3VH, Golf 3 Victor, Echo Hotel. No time this afternoon. So in and out, G3VH.
3 Victor Echo Hotel. Good afternoon, Chris, and copy to you in and out. Thanks for calling in, though. That takes us up to 10 on the check-ins. So, not a thin net after all. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Graham, G7NEH, is live streaming the net to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube. And if you are watching via that medium, please hit the like and subscribe buttons so he knows the service is worth providing. The first story this week relates to the damage caused to an undersea fibre optic cable back in 2015. The operators of the cable sued the owners of the fishing trawler accused of damaging the cable for the costs of repair. And the case was concluded this week in the Irish courts, with the trawler being found liable to the tune of £350,000. The case was brought by the cable operators to make a point about the dangers of trawling over known cable routes. There are many cable breaks a year, apparently 3 a week, and there are usually redundant routes, but it does highlight the vulnerabilities those cables face. The UK Joint Committee on the National Security Strategy published the results of their cross-party inquiry into the growing threats facing the country's undersea fibre optic data cables this week, which confirmed that we have good process in place for repairing damaged cables, and there is diversity of routes, but with 99% of UK international data traffic going on those undersea fibre optic cables, there is not enough satellite or microwave link capacity available to replace those services. The report concludes that, quote, the government's resilience concept focuses too much on having lots of cables and pays insufficient attention to the system's actual ability to absorb unexpected shocks. We found general uncertainty about how much damage the system can sustain before data stops rerouting properly, end quote. We'll see whether that gets taken on board. On the 17th and 18th of September, that's last week even, the OST, Operational Support Team, and West Midlands RAYNET attended the Emergency Services Show. Liam Guy, our OST team leader, liaised with a number of key partner agencies, including Ofcom, British Red Cross, the Cabinet Office and the Jessup organisation, all of whom are very keen to support the work of RAYNET-UK, so we'll hope we'll continue to build on that. Finally, the National AGM is in Bristol on Sunday, the 26th of October, adding to a number of problem Sundays for the DMR net. For example, an alternative net controller is needed for next Sunday, the 28th. I can't guarantee being back home in time for the net. As always, if one can't be found and comes forward, then an announcement will be in Friday's news suggesting an ad hoc net instead. So with that, let's see what you've all got to say. Golf 8, just my 180 seconds. Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4, NRC, over.
G4 NRC from G8 DEY. Well, it's been an interesting afternoon here in Norfolk. 14 centigrade, 1019 millibars, 68% relative humidity, 73% cloud cover, and a nice brisk 12.8 miles per hour from 329 degrees. So I thought I'll go outside and do some tidying up. Looked up at the clear blue sky and felt rain. I love the weather in Norfolk. Yes, that's an interesting one about redundancies. In broadcasting, we tended to have at least 2 routes for power and 2 routes for data and other services coming from opposite directions. But things to remember are, of course, that all broadcasts, certainly UK, go through Sky Control, so that they can take feeds off to put on satellite. So that's your main one point of failure for the whole of the broadcasting. Yeah, I shouldn't really say that. From G8 EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC. Yeah, I thought there was a little bit of diversity in that, but that was also played on in that government report, that while you can scatter the cables out, they still all tend to come through the same sea routes. So you haven't always got a lot of diversity, and on the land side it gets even worse. So yeah, interesting stuff. It's whether or not anybody pays any attention to it as usual, I suppose, is the game. Okay, let's keep it moving. Mike 7, Victor Sierra Delta. Stephen, thank you for volunteering for Chester Marathon. I will forward you a meeting request for a week on Monday for the final brief, and I'll put you on the list to get the briefing notes when they're finalised. Mike 7, Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yeah, thanks for that. I'll await those briefing notes and the meeting request. Yeah, like I say, it's always a big event, that one. Well, we copped for the rain over here last night, so much so that they declared a major incident standby. Warrington Borough Council, they were at major incident standby last night. They had the emergency services deployed to various locations across the borough, and one of the rest centres was opened just in case they needed to evacuate any properties. There's a couple of flooding hotspots in the town. Some of it's surface water and some of it river water, being close to the Mersey. Up to and including the actual location of the emergency centre, that's in a bit of a vulnerable spot. If that ever floods very badly, that emergency centre is going to be underwater. So that was what happened last night with the weather over this end of the county. Over.
Sierra Delta, G4 and RC returning. Yes, I saw the reports of the major incident standby. I did appreciate the irony in a national flooding exercise of many, many years ago that I was put in Warrington, guaranteed to be where my feet would get wet. It is a frequent area, as you say, for flooding, and from what I understand, it was 170 people or 170 properties were affected. So, yeah, probably one rest centre's worth would have counted, but I think they've managed to put all the comms infrastructure out of the way of the water now, which is slightly a relief. Okay, let's see how we're doing on the YouTubes. G7 and the H, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G798, yeah. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to all on the net. So our last net, which was probably 2 weeks ago now, we had a total of 56 views and 3 likes, which is quite good. I'll give you some figures on this week's net on the next round. Nothing to add much here really. Very wet day yesterday, rained all day, never stopped, and I did manage to update the firmware on a Mobi-linked TNC, which is a Bluetooth device for those that don't know, and connects to various radios via a cable, and you can Bluetooth it to your phone or computer. I got it connected up with a Windows 11 machine, and was running Pinpoint APRS for the West Cheshire Group APRS net last night. So there we go. All the system worked fine. Not much of an antenna because it was too wet to go outside and put something external up. So yeah, all that system seemed to work okay. Just a distinct lack of traffic. So yeah, not much else to report. G4 NRC, G7NH.
G7 and the HG for NRC returning. Yes, thanks for coming on the West Group Net last night on APRS. So, for the amusement of the class, I was really winging it and had some issues. Taylor being misled. I was using APRS Droid OSM, which is the fork of APRS Droid that allows your phone not just to be the APRS client and mapping server, but also be a digipeater and a iGate. So that was run under one of the RAYNET MV9 call signs, and plug it into a reasonable power 10-watt radio, and couldn't appear to get any audio out. And it turns out the Yaesu I was using, handheld with APRS in to act as a more portable terminal, was suppressing the audio on the data side. so I could see transmissions going out, but couldn't actually confirm that was broadcasting. So we eventually swapped the radio back to an FT818 and completed the rest of the net on 5 watts. But the APRS Droid OSM worked very well as a Digi and as a iGate once it finally got to grips with things. But the power limitation can be a nuisance. Okay, we'll come back to that I'm sure on the next round, but we'll go to Philip next. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar G for an RC over.
G4 NRC, MI0 MSO. Good afternoon, everyone. So, yes, EFS in Birmingham. I was there on the 17th of September, and it was good to see RAYNET there and all the other services. AGM in October, you mentioned also, will not be there in person, but probably virtually, if we have a link, which I'm sure we will have. And just be interested to know on your take on MTPAS from the next round. I was told this week by the lead in our emergency preparedness group that there's talk of it being done away with, and she was interested to learn more about D2D. So that's all from this side at the minute, Craig.
Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar G for an RC. I was just distracted by which service was it that was being done away with. I was just sort of hearing the secondary audio in the background of you. MI0 MSO or G0 DB? G0 G for an RC.
Right, okay, sorry, I've snapped the speaker off on the computer. I'm also watching the stream too. It was the mobile telephone preference service that she has been informed is going to be discontinued. And she was asking me a wee bit more about the direct-to device and whatnot. So she's been informed it's going to be done away with, but I'm not sure about that.
India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar G for an RC. Okay. Right, no, I hadn't heard that one. I shall go and do some digging. I suppose somebody will make the argument that they hardly ever used it, and the mobile operators were certainly more of the opinion that they could manage demands by other conventional means rather than actually preempting a bunch of handsets off the network. So I suspect it may be a path to flow up through to 4G and 5G. The 2 and 3G networks are shut down. But okay, I shall have a look for that because that hadn't come on my radar. Finally, there's Andy, Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray, and you were 5x9 on your local radio club's net on 40 metres earlier, Andy. GW0JLX, G for an RC, over.
G for an RC, GW0JLX, oh, fine business, so thank you for that. Okay, that's really nice to know. I was up at the NEC, the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham on Wednesday and Thursday this week, and I also met with the RAYNET team, I think it was Walsall, West Midlands, who were manning the stand there and doing a fine job. And I also met up with Liam, our operational support head. And yes, I think that there is an awful lot of good stuff coming out of that now, which is great. Fortunately, I have also managed to make contact with our local EPO and build a few bridges there. I'm not quite sure what went on before, but he, I think, is now of the opinion that RAYNET can actually provide an extremely useful service should all the lights go out, much as they did in Spain, as we reported here and discussed some weeks ago. So really and truly, things are improving down here in dear old Pembrokeshire, and I can only hope that they will continue to do so. So RAYNET are certainly up amongst the local EPO's high priority phone calls to make before all the power disappears in the event of a total outage. and the show that I went to, both the main ESS and also the ETS, the Emergency Tech Show, which was in an adjacent hall. Very, very useful. And I have to say that I think RAYNET are probably looking at employing a drone, so that if we ever get into that situation, we would have the ability to be able to put something up that would be able to take photographs and pass those back to the EPO for decision-making purposes. So it could be very, very useful indeed. There we go. GW0JLX, back to you, over.
GW0JLX, G4NRC returning. Okay, yes, it's actually getting a team leader has helped unleash a lot of the stuff that was waiting to be done. It was all there, and it just needed somebody to prioritise it. Goody EPO's changed his opinions a little, and I think some of that's down to the work Dave Thomas has been doing with the Welsh Government down in South Wales, because that did come up in dispatches at the COM meeting yesterday. As far as drones are concerned, reach out to Kent, because they are using them already and have got some experience that may need to be shared. So I'd throw that one in just as a point of contact. For the HF side, yes, I was tuning around post the rain at HF net this afternoon. I heard you on your net. Well, sorry, I heard a loud station, wondered what was going on, then realised it was your net, and it was the local radio club one. So not one I was going to chip in on, but conditions were a little interesting today. That's where flexibility and that diversity comes in. Conventional doctrine, if you ask sort of various AIs and other things, is we should just stay on 5 megahertz because that's the best all the time. In reality today, 5 megahertz wasn't having it at all. 40 meters was definitely the band to be on, but we know things are slightly more variable through the day than computers and other experts might think. Right, with that, let's hit back around for finals. We might have a short net. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EY. Well, I'm going to go back to watching, see whether the rain happens again. Certainly got some rain coming up later on in the week, but most of it over the last few days has been wind as much as anything, and some strange fluctuations in temperature. You know, up to anything up to 10 or 15 degrees difference between adjacent days. But thanks for running the net, Greg. Yeah, I'm not going to offer for control for next week. Got other things on, unfortunately, on that day. So I might not even make the net if it happened. From G8EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC returning. Yes, we need to actually get Liam sorted out with his DMR. With his call sign, he couldn't run G4NRC, but it would at least broaden out the number of net controls again if we could get this a bit more firmly shoved into OST. Unless we get other offers from the contingent as we move around the list. So thanks, Mike. Talk to you soon, but not next Sunday, so I really think it's unlikely I'll be home in time for the nets, so such is life. Round to Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC, over. Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC, over.
Yeah, G4NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yep, I know I've generated a little bit of interest with my article in the weekly news about Express Cloud Warmer. The controller East Suffolk RAYNET has been in touch with me via email and wants to do a few tests on the 2.5 megahertz frequencies. Where of October.
7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC, severely breaking up. Are you still with me before I ask for repeats? Over.
G4NRC, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yes, still with you. It's probably just the time slot being used elsewhere. But I've managed to generate a bit of interest in exercise cloud.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC. Okay, we got you back for a little bit up to Cloud Warmer, but I say again, let's make sure we have a stable link before you repeat everything again. Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yeah, let's try that one again, and hope the time slot doesn't get used on another part of the repeater. But yeah, generating a bit of interest in exercise Cloud Warmer. The group controller East Suffolk RAYNET has been in touch via email. First test will be the 7th of October, and they want to sort of check what can be done on 5 megahertz because they've not really played around with it before. Over.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4NRC. Okay, Stephen, that was 100% that time, and with your full repeat, even though it did say hold it until we show the link was up. Yeah, copied. So I thought East Suffolk have been involved in RAYNET HF nets some time ago, but they haven't been recently, so that is just a reminder that twice a month 5 meg nets occur in the RAYNET HF team at different times of the day, but more usually the evening, same time as you'll be doing Cloud Warmer. I've been trying to see if there was any interest from one of the North Wales Air Cadet units, but I'm struggling a bit to get them interested in radio. The most I can get them interested in at the moment is ADSB and watching planes going by, so we're probably a while off getting them doing real radio. Okay, well, good luck with Cloud Warmer. I need to refresh myself of the times that people are on and then see if I'm going to contact any of the MRE stations. Okay, thanks, Stephen. You'll get the emails from me for other things later. So 7-3s to you, and Graham, G7NEH, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G7NEH, returning. Okay, Greg, not a lot to report here. So this week's views so far, we've had 13 views in total on this net, and we've got 5 concurrent viewers, and we've had 3 likes. So there we go. So not a lot else to report. So thanks for doing the net, and I will no doubt catch you in the week. G4NRC, G7NEH.
G7NEH, G4NRC. Yeah, we need to, at the meeting we've got with OST, see if we can get the YouTube pushed a little bit more as well. Might see, I'll drop you WhatsApp later, see if you're up for a call later on this evening, Graham, just so I can get some things off my head before the week gets too far gone. So 732, thanks for doing the YouTube stream, and we'll go to Philip with, as I said, totally unaware of the MT Pass alleged discontinuing, so more research is needed. Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar. Yeah, as I said, we were having a discussion about direct-to-device, and she dropped that to the conversation. Also, because we'd updated the 3 contacts we have over here for the mobile telephone preference service, and she said that there's early discussions about either disbanding it or discontinuing it or something. So it is what it is, and I suppose if direct device does come in and it covers us all, we won't have to worry about the telephone preference service. Over.
Sierra Oscar G4 and RC. I refer the Honourable Gentleman back to the quote from that government report. Concept focuses too much on having lots of cables and pays insufficient attention to the system's actual ability to absorb unexpected shocks. It's a challenge I've had for regular satellite phones, and the concept that every EPO would get outside with their sat phone and make calls with how many circuits could the satellite actually support. But that could be one of the things that with the change of technology towards direct-to-device and 4G, 5G, just implementing those kind of restrictions. You could do it terrestrially, you wouldn't be able to do it over the satellite links. So it may be that the so-called advance in technology is actually making it harder to do a prioritised service. So they are just shrugging their shoulders and hoping that between the ground and the sky something will get through somehow. So yeah, I certainly don't think it dooms us, because it's not been tested in that full soak what happens if everybody's on all at once kind of mentality. But we'll find out when these systems go more like live. Okay, thanks Philip, thanks for those two hints. I shall pass those up later to others for discussion. Well, Trevor's actually watching online, he can't participate this afternoon. So we'll go for a final to Andy, Golf Whiskey Zero, Juliet Lima X-Ray, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, GW0, JLX, fine, okay. Comment on the cloud warmer. I think you will find it's 1945 until 2000 hours. If memory serves, I did read and thought it was a little bit on the short side, but there we are. So that's going to be available, I think, for 5 days. And on the YouTube, I was unable to get any video today. I don't know what was going on there. Nothing at all, but managed to get a like in. So hopefully that's worked for you on that side of it. But yeah, on the whole, thank you very much indeed. As always, great for running the net. And catch up with you guys a little bit further down. Best 73 from Pembrokeshire, GW0JLX off and clear. Cheers.
JLX G4 NRC returning. Okay, I don't have it active full screen, so there's usually have a load of distractions on. That's why I'm trying to do the net. But I'm looking and Graham is sending video and I am getting it on the preview screen. So yes, that's an interesting glitch, and I can't even think why that would have happened, given the way they transport the video. So okay, Andy, well thanks for joining us today. Yes, the 1945 bit I could vaguely remember, it was how long it lasted for. But we'll see how my few evenings go for making that happen, see if we can make any contacts. Right, we'll bring it to a close. So thanks everybody for taking time out to participate this afternoon. Be careful and have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, where I'm going to get the feeling it's going to be another ad hoc net. I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net and return the talk groups 23531 on Pheonix and Brandmeister and 502351 on the RAYNET-UK system to being an open net rather than a directed net. 7-3, this is G4 and RC now closing and reverting to my normal call sign of Golf Zero Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.